Hi, everybody. Okay, have we lost Bobby? Can somebody confirm? Hey! Oh, here he's coming.
Oh, I was telling Mary and everybody, I have lost or screwed up my computer. Everything is going almost, and not just one computer, two computers this morning. I am getting really good at this. Hi, everybody. It's Robert here with Marion K today. Marion Kirk. She's in Scotland. She's an astrologer and a tarot reader. If you haven't seen her channel, she just has a lovely, smooth way about relating the information. Hold on. This is my. Technology is not my friend today. I'm not lying. Everything has been messing up. So, for those of you who have never seen Marion's channel, she's an astrologer. She is a tarot card reader, but the astrology aspect is something that we're going to get into. We're going to be going down the fool's journey with Marion and finding out what brought her to her path, how things are going with her. For those of you who have seen the show before, it is one of my favorite things in the world to do. Everybody has a story, and everybody's story is important. So I like to see what those stories are. Hi, Marion. How are you today?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you. Hello, everybody.
I apologize for putting you on the stage. I went to add myself onto the stage with the button and deleted myself. I was like, crap. Okay.
No, 'cause I was just like, and it's saying you're in the show, and I'm like, hi, everybody.
But
We've
you
lost
look so
Bobby.
adorable doing it. You look so cute. I was trying to type Marion talking. Again, I say the problem is that I'm working completely sober.
You know,
Marion,
yes.
you are friends with a couple of friends of mine.
Mhm.
Or actually, I am friends with a couple of friends of yours, Chris Butler and
Mhm.
Ken Payne,
Yes.
Oracle of the Hecate Path, and the Healing Light Tarot fame. I was scrolling through my Facebook, and since Ken is one of my Facebook friends also, I saw an image that said I found Marion Kirk at the store, and it was a little yarn doll that looked like you. It was so
Mhm.
cute. And I believe the response was cheeky fucker.
Pretty much, yeah.
Marion, how would you describe yourself to people that have never met you?
Oh, God. Here's a loaded question.
I'm
Who are the
talking,
people and how much do they need to know about me?
let's
Um,
go with the spiritual nature.
okay.
How would you describe yourself as spiritual?
I am a Taurus Sun, Aries Moon, Sagittarius Ascendant.
Taurus, Aries, and Sagittarius.
So I'm fiery, feisty, and like nice,
Stubborn.
pretty things. Stubborn. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Uh,
You say stubborn, I say determined.
one of my favorite things to do during tarot readings is to incorporate all the aspects, astrology being one of the main aspects of tarot. It is a big thing with me. I love it. I also add in the Hebrew aspects. If I could throw it in the stew, I'm going to throw it in the stew and see what I can come up with. The first card on our journey today is the Fool. Now, how old were you when you started what could be considered your spiritual journey?
I don't really have well, I have a kind of distinct memory of being maybe about 5 or 6, and it was a Sunday morning, and my dad and my uncle Charlie, they were teaching me how to play poker. They were teaching me how to play 5-card draw poker, and basically they started saying to me, like, I remember it was like the Jack of Clubs. My dad put it out and he was like, what does that mean, Marion? And I was like, oh, I can't remember, but I don't like that man's face. He looks shifted, Dad. And he's like, and what about it? And then I just started like kind of like getting messages, like saying things about this man's face. And my Uncle Charlie looked at my dad, and my dad looked at my Uncle Charlie, and my dad was like, oh, she's going to be like my mum then. And because like it's like we joke, you know, and it's like we say like kind of like divination, etc. It's like the family business.
Right.
So that was my first kind of like conscious memory of things, and it actually turned out that my Uncle Charlie's work, there was a gentleman in his work who was behaving the way that I was describing. So obviously I didn't know that until later, like many years later. But at the time I was just like, my dad was just like, well, tell me a story about this man, and what does he say, and what does he do? And so
And you
I'm
were how
reading
old?
the story.
And you were how old?
5 or 6. So I had just started school. So it was like yeah, and it was a Sunday morning.
I am always intrigued when I hear of children who are open. They go into life open. A lot of children don't go into life open. They have to open up their spirituality, their third eye as time goes by. Some children go in with it open, and they have to learn to close it and protect themselves over time. Would you say that you were somebody who had to protect yourself from feelings of others, or did you do it naturally?
I think I don't ever really remember like consciously doing things, you know. It was like as I say, like it was like kind of a both sides of my family, like my paternal and maternal lines. Um but my gran and her sister and my dad's side, they had their own like reading business in the local town. They had an office in like the 70s and 80s. I think they started in the kind of late 60s. So you know, people came from far and wide and
Right.
went to my gran. So it was something that, you know, I grew up like hearing about, my dad talking about, and then like my mum with her wee voice that would tell her things, and then she would like, you know, go and um like
Right.
read at people's houses. So it was always, it was always round about me, you know, like divination, and I didn't see anything different. It was just, but I also knew that, particularly at school, I'd to not talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it. You know, it was very much, and it was this kind of a trying to fit in and try to feel normal, but at the same time knowing when people were lying to me. knowing when teachers were lying to me. So that was quite difficult.
Yeah. Childhood can be rough to begin with, and then have this thrown into the mix. It's very confusing for a lot of people. I was lucky. I came from a family where, like yourself, this was not unheard of.
Mhm.
So there were things set in place to train me. Still didn't mean it went smoothly.
Mhm.
I was what you call rebellious. Um, at what age did you decide to take control of this, to explore it?
I'd kind of like, I don't know if I turned it off. I just think that maybe, my life get kind of consumed with other things like growing up and like the drama being like an early teen. And it was when I was 14 or 15, and our high school was near a train station. And it was one afternoon we had religious education followed by PE, like gym class, and I was like, I've left this. I'm not going to religious studies because the teacher hates me because I ask questions and I don't just listen to what he says, but I question his thoughts. And
Uh-huh.
then PE, no, I can't be bothered. So it's like at that point, like I'll probably walked about 2.5 miles a day to and from school combined, because it was like, because you just did, it's like you would get money for like your fare, but you would just walk and save up your bus fare or whatever to buy cigarettes.
I was going to say to buy cigarettes on the way to school. It was a different era we lived in.
Yes, it was the 90s. So I just skipped school in the afternoon. I was like, I'm just going to get into Glasgow because like, I live maybe about a 25-30 minute train journey away from Glasgow. So jumped in the train, went to Glasgow, had a wander about, and then lit up a cigarette outside this shop. And I was smoking my cigarette. Lady came out, she lit up a cigarette. We started chatting, and she was like, "So are you coming in to buy your tarot deck then?" And I'm like, "All right then." So I went in, and they had the Smith, they had the one JJ Swiss, didn't like any of the two. Then they had the Thoth, and I was like, "Oh, I like that." And the lady was like, "No, the now."
It's a complicated one, yeah.
As in, no, no, the now. And I'm like, "But how? I want that one." She's like, "No." And then they had the Dragon Tarot, and I've actually looked out the very deck.
That's
And
that deck?
that was my very first deck. This is my very first deck. It's like you can see it's like the corners are all like dog eared, and we've been through some stuff.
Yeah. Honestly, I cannot remember what happened to my first deck. I believe I gave it away.
Right.
Um, I'm one of those people who was told your first deck should be given to you. And even though I've outgrown that thinking,
Mhm.
it's still a nice thing for me to do. I give people tarot decks
Mhm.
because other people still believe that way. I didn't mean to get off topic. Um, so now there's that. Now, in case you didn't know, I was associating that question with the magician taking control of things. Um, the
Mhm.
next card up we have is the High Priestess.
Mhm.
The High Priestess is spirituality, feminine strength. What is the High Priestess to you, first of all?
Um, the High Priestess to me is somebody who has got that feminine energy, who isn't afraid to use the femininity energy, the feminine energy within themselves to accomplish whatever task they have.
Did has your spirituality made other people look at you different?
Yes. Um, it sometimes it's a kind of a, oh, that's why she's the way she is. It's that kind of a energy. Um, Other times it's been like, oh, so you're a bit weird, and I'm like, mm, I'm so sorry, you're not. That's my usual response when somebody calls me weird. I usually just say, I know, I'm so sorry, you're not.
Right? It's that. Roots Ange says, I love seeing Marion helping out on Scorched Earth Tarot while she got settled in her new
Oh,
home. I love
thank
these
you.
ladies. See, so you are famous on this side of the drink also.
That was a really scary experience, but I was helping my friend out, so you know,
The
ex-
Empress card. The
yeah.
Empress card is the Empress card is about love.
Mm.
Like you had to I know what I want to ask, but I'm afraid I'm going to ask it wrong, so forgive me.
Oh no, don't worry. I'm Scottish. I don't get offended easily.
Oh, that's right. Okay, do you think people tend to look at you as a voice of authority in the spiritual realm? Look at the confusion on her face.
I, I, I'm, I'm slowly coming to the realization that actually they do, and and that's a bit scary to me. That's a bit, it's a bit terrifying. I'm like, I talk absolute shit. Why do people want to listen to me? And
No,
it
I feel
still
that.
it still like confounds me and puzzles me. The fact that because it's just I just kind of like talk. I don't I don't think about, it's not as if like I pre-rehearse like these things that I say, and like
Yeah.
people like how you say things, Marion, it's so profound, and I'm like, mm, thanks, and I just popped into my head. It's like literally just said what I thought.
Yeah. You know, there was a gentleman I was watching yesterday. In Glasgow, come to think of it. He's a bald gentleman that reads cards with the Ghost Society. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
He just has this easy way of when he's reading cards, and he did like 14 readings, just one right after another. And I was like, that is so smooth. I just love it. When did you start developing a technique for tarot and astrology?
Well, astrology came first. Um,
The gateway drug.
it was my thing. There was this astrologer, and he's still alive, and he used to be on breakfast TV. It was called Russell Grant,
I
and
know who Russell Grant is.
you know who Russell Grant is, right? So when I was little, Russell Grant used to be on breakfast TV in the mornings, obviously because it's breakfast, and it was when I would be getting ready for school. And my mum knew that, bear in mind I'm a Taurus, that I would not shift until I had seen Russell Grant in the morning. Now, literally, I'm like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. And it's like my mum knew that that was the only time if I did not have my breakfast to watch Russell Grant, I would be in a huff the whole day. So I had to watch Russell Grant. And then even in the school summer holidays, I would get up and still watch him and then go back to bed. So that was the thing for me.
Right.
Um, and then when I was 14, I carried my tarot cards about with me everywhere. And it wasn't it was never an intention, for anybody to see them. But I always had them in my school bag. So I was getting my biology textbook out my school bag, and my tarot deck came flying out with them as well. And I'm like, oh no. And one of my friends was like, "Oh, Marion, what's that?" And I'm like, nothing. Just leave it alone." And then, of course, you say nothing, and you're like, "Right, what is it?" And I was like, "It's my tarot deck." And then that was how I started reading for people, like reading for friends in the girls' bathroom, in the girls' like toilet at like lunchtime. Uh,
Yeah, I
and
didn't have to worry too much about the teachers taking the cards or anything. We had a class in my high school called Unexplained Phenomena, where we all just read each other's tarot cards and studied about the supernatural. It was a really cool class in Claremont, California.
cool.
I would like to take a class like that as an adult. That was pretty awesome.
Mhm.
So, at have you had to defend yourself with the
Defend.
emperor? Have you had to defend your spirituality at any point? For people
Um,
saying, "Oh my gosh, you're a nutburger."
I don't I don't really I've never really had to defend myself as such. I mean, bearing in mind I grew up in the west of Scotland. So for anybody who doesn't know, like in the time in like the time period that I grew up, it
Yeah,
was it was very much, whilst it was not anywhere near as bad as the troubles in Northern Ireland, there was still a lot of that like religious sectarianism going on between like Catholics and Protestants. So that was the main thing, if there was any kind of a like religious antagonism or anything, it was with regards to that. So anything out with that, it was like, like some people would be like, "Oh, are you a Catholic or a Protestant?" And I would be like, "Well, I'm neither. I'm a witch. I'm a practicing Wiccan." And they would just be like, "Oh, aye, that's Marion. They're there." You know? It's
no mind. Uh, it's interesting you should say about religion because obviously the next card is the Hierophant. The
Mhm.
Hierophant, although a card of society, learning, teaching, and religion, to me, this has always been a difficult card because it brings with it a feeling ostracization. Is that a big word? Being ostracized, let's just say that.
Mhm.
The church has a habit of ostracizing people that they don't feel fit into their view of things. Have you ever felt ostracized and
Um,
stand outside of things?
well, being a Taurus, it's a very the Hierophant has is a been a difficult card for me to come to terms with. Um, I have real issues with organised religion.
Let's say that the Taurus, everybody, Taurus is the sign associated with the Hierophant, which is why
Mhm.
she's so.
Yeah. So it's difficult, and I mean, see if somebody, but I'm all about believe what you want. It's like you do you, but don't try and shove it down my throat or anybody else's throat. That's where I am with that.
Yeah.
Have I felt ostracized? Sometimes when I was younger, but I was really lucky in that again, my family was like they were the same as me. It wasn't as if I was like
Right.
the kind of oddball. And plus, my sister, she was very loud, and I was known as a quiet one, if you can
Really?
believe that. Aye, uh-huh. Um, and plus, like everybody was a bit scared there, so I didn't get any hassle at all for anybody. I
That's
had
good.
a pretty nice school experience and outside the school.
And what about one of my cards just went flying out? Oh, It was the Hierophant went flying into the chair. Next up, we've got the lovers.
Mhm.
How have how has dating and spirituality gotten along?
Ooh. Oh, it's been
Okay.
a challenge.
Um,
It's been a challenge. Generally, it's been fine because like most guys are like they're quite interested in it, and or they're like, oh well, you're just talking shit. I don't believe in that. And that's fine. I'm just like, all right, cool. Oh, by the way, I've got a gran here and she's wanting to remind you that time when you were 5 and she took you to X, Y, and Z. But it's fine, you don't believe in it. And they'll be like, but the there was an experience where I nearly gave up everything because of um a relationship that I was in, and it wasn't because he asked me to. Oh, is Bobby away?
I'm here.
Are you here? Right, okay. Don't
I'm
scare
here.
me
I
like
just want you to have the full screen.
So
I'm a
basically what
good
happened,
listener.
I was in a relationship with a guy, and he pretty much demanded a tarot card reading off me, and I was like, I don't want to, but anyway, so I eventually I did, and
Demanded.
mm,
Demanded.
aye, I know it was, aye, it wasn't the best, but anyway, so I gave him a reading, and it was like really, it was quite a dark reading, and there was quite a lot going on, and the only mistake I made in that reading was making the assumption that what I was talking about had happened in his past, when in actual fact it was happening in his present. And I was the person that I was seeing in the cards, like going through all these circumstances. So basically, I mean, that was it. But after like seeing that and then everything coming out and me realizing, shit, that was actually me that I was talking about. It very nearly made me give everything up.
Really?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I was so just it
You know,
was a
for the
job.
longest time when I was younger, the men I would date
Mhm.
treated me, when I'd say I was a witch or a reader, they treated me like, that's nice, dear, with a little pat on the head until they would actually see me reading or at a psychic fair or with a client, or
Mhm.
they realize this is not something I'm playing around with.
Mhm.
This is serious. This
Mhm.
is, when I was a kid, we had somebody out here. You probably haven't heard of him, called Walter Mercado. It was a Spanish-speaking psychic, very flamboyant, like Liberace. He was the Liberace of psychics. And when I was a kid, I was like, I want to be Walter. That's what I want to be when I grow up. So I've always been very outgoing, very unapologetic.
Mhm.
Have you ever had to pull back
Pull back how? Like, through being who I am?
with being who you are? And the reason I ask that is because the next card up is the Chariot. Now, the Chariot is a card of control, controlling your thoughts. Have you ever had to hold yourself back for any reason?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say hold back, but for the vast majority of my working life, I worked in criminal justice.
You what? Wait, what? Get back that up?
I worked in criminal justice, so I worked within the law. I worked with the police, law enforcement. Yeah, I was never
Okay.
a cop. I wasn't built to be a cop. I don't do rolling about and getting my hands dirty and breaking nails. But
Okay.
I got to tell the police officers what to do. So I would like gather the information and I would be like, right here, blah blah blah. Um, so it was a very like it was a certain atmosphere, it was a certain environment, and it was very male testosterone led environment, but I really excelled in that because it was like the cops accepted me in a way that I had never really been accepted, like in more kind of a like female feminine like environments, because the cops were just like, oh, you're hard as nails, Marion. And because I'm quite tall, so I'm 5'11".
Dang! Just kidding. Yeah.
So that's pretty tall for females. So like the cops were like, they were like either the same height as me or taller than me. So so like there wasn't that kind of a, oh, she's tall, so she's aggressive. And it was like, well, I'm not aggressive. I've just got an opinion. And I'm just very Queen of Swordsy.
I love
So
it, of course.
so it's like when I had to pull myself back or rein myself in, it was when I was in environments that were very much more kind of a feminine. So it's like, like you maybe hear like kind of like female presenting people who say they have a really tough time in male orientated environments. I was the complete opposite, so.
Yeah, I never got along well in all male environments. I
Mhm,
just never did. I was raised by women.
mhm.
Um, I was a hairstylist, a nail tech, a bartender. All my jobs
I need
have
my
been
roots. I don't look at my
all of my jobs have been focused on taking care of people, specifically taking care of women, because my family raised me that way.
roots. Mhm.
My family, we used to rub the women's feet in the family growing up. That was just, I thought every family did that. No, they didn't. It was just my aunt teaching us to do that. Uh, the next card up we have is the strength.
Mhm.
Now, we all have a measure of inner strength. Describe your strength to proud of yourself, Mama. Come on, I didn't say it was going to be an easy show.
It's like therapy. It's like, um, I tend to be the person that everybody comes to. I seem to, for some unknown reason, it's like I tend to emanate strength to other people, and I seem to be able to help other people find their strength because they see me as being strong. So it's like, like in like different like kind of crazy, like really stressful situations, like going back to like my former career, it's like everything would be fine. If I was okay, everybody else would be fine. If I lost my shit over something, then everything would just go. Everything would just fall to bits. So I think that's probably I I I think it's a Taurus thing in me. There's a stoicism to Taurus naturally.
I've noticed with Taurus,
Mhm.
they like to do things themselves because they don't trust other people to do them for them. That's just a personal, because I used to be married to a Taurus. That's why.
Okay. Mhm.
I've always, for some reason, had earth signs for, I'm
Mm,
a Leo,
right.
and I've always had an earth sign.
Mhm.
Coincidentally, I didn't seek them out. Um,
So of course
and
you would
then
have
I
your
wonder,
dressing Leo.
Well, then I wondered for a long time why I felt like I was being smothered by the other person. So uh, for those who don't know astrology, fire and earth can be a little tricky to work with. You're either going to get smothered by the earth sign or
Or
the fire
ignored,
sign is going to
or
turn you
just
into mud.
completely ignored.
Yeah. The Hermit is
Mhm.
our next card. When you look within, what what brings you peace?
Literally solitude. Literally, I live alone and I'm no lonely. It's like some people be like, oh, it's such a shame you live alone. No, it's no. It really is. I can be like, it's like I call myself an extroverted introvert.
Yeah,
It's like it's like when I love being around people, but I'll get to my point and then it's like, right, I need to go and be myself. And I'm not being antisocial, it's just I just kind of disappear.
gotcha.
And just it's like why when like I go anywhere, like if you maybe go to like a conference or something, I will always have my own room. I do not share. I don't share. In that respect, it's like I just need that time to decompress and just just be like with myself.
That's a confidence thing. I'm confident within myself.
Hmm.
And I know that I'm the only one that's going to calm my ass down when I've had a rough day. So I need to be alone with myself for a little while.
Hmm.
I'll see you all in a little bit. Can't see my hands. It's like this. Like for instance, yesterday I spent the day with my family or my husband's family celebrating my birthday. Um, but by the time we got home, I just needed, as much as I love them, I needed to be alone.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
needed to break out an oracle deck and read for myself just for a little while, just to gather my shit. I know that about me. I'm capable of being the one to lift myself up and support myself.
Hmm.
Would you say that that is something you're capable of doing?
Hmm. Yeah, and I think that's a very fixed sign thing. I've noticed, like just we kind of fix ourselves. And it's like difficult for any of us to like really ask for help, and when we do ask for help, it's a huge thing.
I don't like to ask for help because I don't trust anybody to help me in the way I need to be helped.
Hmm.
That's the bottom line. I will ask for help and I'll accept the help I get, but a lot of the time it's not the help I'm looking for, the help I need.
Hmm.
But because I need to be open to people, I put myself out there.
Hmm.
Our community is growing, lovely Empress Amanda. Yes, it is Heather. Heather, this is Marion and Amanda. Yeah, this is Marion. I love my paint. My friends are just amazing. Heather, I've done a lot of her channels. I did a show with her and Amanda both recently. Um, can't wait to do the next one. So,
Yes.
the Wheel of Fortune.
Hmm.
Now we're going to change things up a little bit.
All right.
When did you decide to start making your spirituality and your abilities with cards and astrology start paying for you?
Um.
Heather said
Yeah.
she subscribed to you.
Remember I told you about them reading for friends
Mm.
and reading for people in the girls' bathrooms?
Oh, you were charging at that point.
Well, I was charging £1 a card.
Good girl.
$1 a card, the equivalent. Oh my
I charge
Taurus.
$1 a minute. You're charging $1 a card. I love it. Well, that's awesome.
Mhm.
Heather has subscribed to you. Anybody who else who has not subscribed to our lovely Marion's channel, please do so now.
Thank you. The first 4 signs of the zodiac readings for September are up. Just thought I'd plug that.
Now, while we have this card out here, let's talk about it for a second. The symbols on this card represent the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac.
Mhm.
I get the feeling this card has some kind of meaning for you.
It's Jupiter, so that's my chart ruler because I'm a Sagittarius ascendant for a start, and then my last Wheel of Fortune year for my birthday, that was quite a interesting year where it was the wheel was very much down, shall we say. Right, it was very, yeah, it was very much reversed a few years ago, and I literally did not know what way was up, what way was down. But that particular year, things just really felt like they began. It was like the seeds began to, sprout and just grow. So I always kind of associate that time of life with that particular card, and I like it.
This card scares me. I know everybody loves it because it means things are growing, things are expanding, but it scares me because I know how fast things can turn on a dime. Being
Mhm.
a witch as yourself, we walk the winding road. Sometimes things are good, sometimes they're bad. This is just a reminder that things don't always go good. And
Yeah.
sometimes I just want that toxic positivity. I just want to pretend everything's going to be good, you know?
I think
But
there's a lot of people who seem to have it as one of the what I call the Pollyanna cards.
which
Do
are
like
the
it's like
Ten
the
of
Wheel of
Cups.
Fortune, the Ten of Cups, the Sun. It's like they're the Pollyanna cards, and I'm very much like, well, any card can mean anything.
Yeah.
Depending on the context, and every card has got a dark side just the same as every card has got a light side.
I'll give you for instance on that. I have a thing with angels. Everybody looks at angels as, oh, they're so soft and lovey and protective. I view angels as a destructive, dangerous force of nature. These were the ones sent to destroy things in the Bible. These are not lovey, soft little point, shoot the arrow. No, these are forces of nature, and
Mhm.
they need to be
You
respected
have
and understood as
you have
such.
angels, the ones that you're talking about, and the ones that I've experienced, or you have the Hay House angels, as I call them.
The hate house.
The Hay House. Now the
Oh
publisher, Hay House.
yeah,
Oh well, that's me never getting a contract with them. Oh dear.
there's there's guardian angels, your protective angels, yes, but I'm talking the cherubim, seraphim. These are not angels you want to screw around with. Uh, yeah, Ange, I would like to add you. I don't know how to add you as a moderator, and I'm going to be doing that today before I end up forgetting about it. Um, I think that's all I can really ask about the Jupiter card, the Wheel of Fortune.
I think you make your own fortune as well. I think that in order for the wheel to turn, then you have to take steps. Even if you imagine like the wheel is a hamster wheel, in order for it to turn, you have to move. So you have to make the choice to change your luck.
How did how do you handle? rough spots in your life?
You put one step in front of the other and never give up, and know that it's going to be shit, and know that you don't know how long it's going to be shit, but hopefully you've had enough experiences in your life to know that things will change. You know, the sun will rise again. You know, and it's like one of my absolutely favourite poets is Khalil Gibran, and his work, The Prophet, is probably his most famous work. And it's like, you know, it's like there was this one bit where it's like talk to us about joy and sorrow.
Uh-huh.
And it's like your sorrow is your joy. So it's like the depth of that sorrow that you feel is an indicator of just how much capacity you have to feel joy or to feel happiness again. Oh, we lost Bobby. Is he frozen?
Well, no, I think I may have been frozen. Hold on.
You're frozen to me.
Oh no.
Oh no. There we go.
I'm frozen.
Ellie.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was something that I read very early on. I tripped in a bookstore, right? And when I when I looked round, I literally fell on the ground, right? Like hands splayed right into the floor, totally mortified. And my head turned and it was the bottom shelf, and there was a tiny wee book, and it was by Khalil Gibran, and it was called wasn't it called The Prophet? It was called The Beloved. And I was like 17, 18, totally heartbroken at this point over some random guy who I can't remember now, but he was a Gemini. Um, and I seen this book and I bought this book, and I just absolutely love it. You know, some people have got like comfort food, or they've maybe got like a movie or a TV show they'll watch to give them comfort. Well, I'll go and pick that book and I'll randomly pick it up at a story, and it just helps. But The Prophet as well is his most famous work. Um, yeah, so I'm
I
a big.
have when I'm stressing out, there's only one thing that really makes me feel better, and that's to sit here with my cards. It relaxes me. And what I do have to do is make sure to cleanse the cards after I'm done,
Mhm,
because I don't want my anxiety being stuck on them.
mhm,
Um, I'm okay having anxiety. I'm okay being who I am because I grow and make it a point to grow and heal, grow myself, grow others, heal
mhm.
others, grow and heal the next generation. But I'm starting to babble. Let's go on. Did we do justice?
Nope.
Okay, justice. Libra. What is Libra to you?
I've got a stellium in Libra, so I've got 3 planets in Libra. So I'm all about the justice, and then plus like my IC is in Libra as well. So the fact that I worked in criminal justice, I literally worked in the seats of justice. I worked in the court system. It's a really important card to me, like in my personal story. But oddly, I don't get it very often.
Really?
I very rarely pull justice for myself.
When I look at this card, the first thing that I always notice is um, the two pillars are not black and white as in the other cards, they're gray.
Mhm.
The half the decks I see this card is blindfolded, and half the decks she's not blindfolded. I like the decks versus blindfolded. It just looks cool. But I'm really into bondage. The what? I'm not exactly sure of how to ask this question, but
I'll just say it.
what brings you justice?
What brings me justice? Um, I think seeing people who've been through a really shitty time, you know, getting to grips with themselves and actually like so I've got clients, right, and obviously we've got like repeating clients, right, and like I've had clients who have been with me for years, and they've maybe came to me initially because they've had a really shitty situation going on, and we've worked through it, and it's been something where we can then, work through it. And then it's like you see them getting their justice, you see them getting what they deserve because they've put the work in, because they've took the time to be honest with themselves.
Um, do you have trouble balancing the different aspects of your life?
I'm very I'm very
That's what I would say.
compartmentalized. I would say my life is very it's like I've got this going on here, then I've got this here and this here, and it's like they don't really mix, and I like that because it gives me a sense of control,
Right.
because like, there's lots and lots of things like in my life that have happened and whatever that have been lessons in me no being in control, and it's been really difficult, coming to terms with that, and like realizing that there's things that happen that are out with my control and there's nothing that I can do about it.
I have a problem with justice. I suffer from happiness. Do you know what Schadenfreude is?
A what?
Do you know what Schadenfreude is?
A Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude is German for when something bad happens to somebody else and
Mm-hmm.
you get a kick out of it. Like if I feel that they deserve it and something karma slaps them in the face, I love that. It
You
just
just sit back and you sit with your popcorn and you just watch your shit show unfold.
yeah,
Love it.
love it.
Love it.
The Hanged Man
Yes.
shows us how to look past illusions.
Yes.
What is the biggest illusions that you created for yourself over life that are now having to fight through?
What are the biggest illusions or delusions?
Have you created any illusions for yourself that you've had to try to tear down?
Um, I think okay, so my the thing that's coming to mind is right the whole YouTube thing, right? So initially when I started my channel, right, it was some kind of weird reverse psychology. Okay, so my whole life, right, I've had like a real real trouble with body image, the way I looked, like the way my face was, and like just being really highly critical of myself. And I thought that in my wisdom, that in order to go over this or try to go over this, I'm going to stick myself in the internet where people can watch me and talk, and I'm going to be really uncomfortable. It's going to make me really uncomfortable, but somehow the psychology at that point in my mind made me think, well, it'll make me like myself better. I'm still working in that. It's
How
still,
that worked out for you?
uh, it has times.
And the biggest illusion I've created for myself is that people aren't always interested in what I have to say. That's been an ongoing thing my entire life. I am the definition of give an inch and I'll take a mile.
Mm.
If you show me this much interest, I'm all over it. My husband bought me a drink, and we've been married for 25 years. I just that is my biggest illusion, that people won't be okay if I'm not there. I worry about people that just my being there is going to keep them safe. I have to remind myself I'm a human being just like anybody else. It's probably I don't want to be alone in those situations. I have to view it properly. And I don't like being alone a lot of the time. But then when I want you gone, I want you gone. It's very confusing.
It is. It is
Yeah.
very confusing. It's
And
like I'm there. Like, just leave me be, you know. And it's like when everybody was freaking out about having to be like in their homes and no be able to interact with people and that, I was like, oh, fantastic! My whole life I've been training for this. It's like,
it's true. I now, in fact, my husband and I were just talking about it. I was because I work out of the home, and I have for the past year. I was telling him if I do decide to get a hourly job again, it's gonna have to be out of the house because I don't want to. I don't want to. Which is weird because I didn't want to work out of the house to begin with. But
But I think is that maybe because that was forced upon you. It wasn't your choice.
yeah, I used to work at a bookstore
Right.
doing tarot readings, and I had an office there, but the store owners weren't paying the rent completely, so they repossessed half of the store, which included my office space.
Right.
And it was my husband actually who said you should work out of the house, and I was like, really? Okay. Now he's regretting it. The death card. The death card brings sudden and quick change. Things are never the same. What is the one defining moment in your life that you look back on and say that was the death moment? That was the change.
Um, it was an actual death. And it was a Scorpio.
Oh, Scorpio was the death sign, by the way, you guys.
With my sister.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
She was 22. I was 24. It was incredibly sudden. It was not expected. And that was probably my moment. You know, where it was like, shit, what do I do now? You know. So yeah, so that was my that was a kind of turning point. But what's wonderful now is the fact that she is one of my guides.
I was gonna say, do you still talk to her?
Yeah, I have. So she's one of my guides, and we have like a different relationship because she's not physically here anymore, you know, but she's still very much in my life. I have a picture here on my desk, you know, it's like if you don't mind, I'll show you. So
Well, hello.
that was Anne, or that is Anne. Um, and it was like she was a chef and a nightclub bouncer. like a nightclub door person. So I call her my spiritual bouncer because I have actually witnessed when I've been doing readings for people and
Right.
maybe I can have a dodgy energy comes in or something. I've actually heard her in her voice saying, "Know the night, pal." As in, like, you're not getting in. Know the night. And it's like, so I know that I've get that, kind of protection. And like she had like about she'd what 5 planets in Scorpio. So she was, and then
I'm excited because after my dad died,
mhm,
my dad was very abusive, but towards the end, he was trying to create a better relationship for the two of us. And, he did leave me some stuff in the will. Um, we're sitting in it actually. Um, I now have been working over the past year to make a better relationship with my dad, even though he is not on this plane and get
mhm,
along much better now. And I can appreciate him. I still get flashes of his old self, um, but it was a part of him for 70 years. So
mhm,
that
yeah.
is something we can talk about at another point because I'm very interested in temperance cards.
Yay! Alchemy.
When I see this card, I think of, well, obviously tarot and astrology. I blend the two together along with empathy to create my reading.
Mhm.
When you're creating your readings, can you describe the process to me?
Ooh. I just
I know
I
a
just
lot of readers want to say, I just do it. And if that's something,
I do, but it depends, there's like several things, if I'm doing like a 1-to-1 reading, that's completely different to the reading that I'll give you if I'm going live on Instagram, or if I do like a general reading and put it up in my YouTube channel, or if I'm doing like a face to face at a psychic event or something. So there's all these different types of readings that I will do depending on the circumstances, depending on the surroundings. But if I'm doing like my main like Zoom consultation, I go through this wee routine where it's like I ground myself. I need to brush my teeth. It's like I've probably got the cleanest like teeth that any like British tarot card reader. I'm not even going to say American because that's just no. Uh, but that's the thing, and it's like so it's like I brush my teeth, and it's like a kind of grounding thing, and I think it is like cleansing my mouth because that's where the messages are coming through. So that needs to feel like cleansed, if you like.
when you're doing readings, is
Mhm.
there any physical association with your guides?
Um, if No, I'm very free and easy, right? I mean, it's like I'm very much one of the readers where it's like, do as I say, not as I do. When I'm teaching people how to like, read tarot, it's it's like literally I'll be like, oh, come in. Once I've brushed my teeth, I've got my wee bit of selenite. Where is it? I've got a particular bit of selenite that I hold on to, and then I give the cards a bit of a tap on my desk, give them a shuffle, say in my head, right, if empty's coming through, just line them up to the side of me,
Right.
and then that's it, and then I just go. So it's
Everybody has their process
mhm,
for setting down to do cards. I know a lot of the times you hear people saying, "Oh, get a new deck, cleanse it, this, do that, bury it in the yard for a week, dance around 6 times."
I've not got time.
Yeah, I don't have the time for that. I'll take the cards, and here's my thing. I'll go through them. I'll run them through the smoke, hit them with a bell, done, ready to go. Okay,
Mhm.
and
I'll
then
whack
over
them off
time,
my desk. Literally, I'll whack them off the desk and that's it.
if I'm doing a new deck walkthrough, um, before I'm on camera, I have hit it with my bell and incense beforehand. So when I'm going through the cards one at a time, I'm actually charging the cards as I'm showing everybody my first impressions of them, which I've always thought was the easy way to do it. Um, where are we now? The devil. Have you ever gotten any? You mentioned the Christian aspect. I have had Christians just when I was younger, too young to defend myself properly.
Mhm.
I have had Christians getting up on them for going to hell. You're a demon. You're this. You're that. You know. And at the time, it upset me pretty bad.
Mhm.
But as time went by, now if somebody says something, I'm like, "Oh, shut up," and I
Mm.
go on with life. Have you had people call you terrible things?
Because
Which
you tarot, because I'm a tarot reader.
yeah,
No,
good.
no. Um, I've had a couple of occasions where I've actually read for Catholic priests. I've read tarot for them.
I read a
Um,
nun once.
eh?
I read a nun once, so yeah.
It's like so one of them he actually learned to read tarot when he was studying to be a priest in the Vatican City. So
That's interesting.
he learned how to read. So I learned some stuff from him.
That's cool. They probably got the best schools there too.
Hmm.
Um, one of the interesting things about the devil card is it's a card of addiction.
Mm,
Have you ever had to face addiction or anything like that?
yes. Um, you know, the whole thing when you know, see, like when people say like the devil is like the card, the addiction. It's like I'll say the devil is a card of choice. You know, the devil offers you that substance, that X, Y, and Z, whatever that you can become addicted to, but the power is still with you. You're no forced. The devil doesn't force you. It just says, "Oh, look at all these bad things." Exactly, the lovers is the mirror side, precisely. Um, but have I ever had an addiction? Yes, I was. I did. I would say that I had an addiction to alcohol. Um, or it was more a kind of a crutch when I was going through a bad period in my life. Like when I was younger. It's like the drinking culture in Scotland is very much you drink with everything. You know, in the UK in general, you know, it's like you just drink and that's it. So that was a culture that I grew up in. And I mean I started drinking when like I was like 13, 14 year old, probably around about the same time as I picked up a tarot deck. Um and I started smoking then as well. But I have not drank properly at all for about six, 7 years, something like that. I gave up smoking really, really weirdly. A really weird story about how I gave up smoking.
Do
Um,
tell. I'm interested.
I have all the stories, Bobby. So it was the 20th of April 2023. Okay, so just over, but just about 18 months ago. And I had smoked for 25 years. And I had never had any intention of giving up smoking. I loved smoking. Controversial, I know, but I absolutely adored it. I loved it. And I used to refer to smoking as my longest long term relationship and my most committed relationship because it was. And that day, I smoked a cigarette and then I went to get another pack because it was the last one in the pack. And I was like, oh, I better go and, get my other pack ready for when I have my next smoke break. And I never had another packet. And I was like, oh, I must have forgot to, get one the last time I was at the shop. So I was like, and I just had this errant thought. And the errant thought was, do you know, I think I'll go and see how long I can go without having another cigarette. That was it.
And did you have any fallout from it, as in
I was,
angry moods, or?
oh, I was terrible. Oh, see, like after 2 days, I thought I could really do this. And then my whole life, in every school report card, Marion is incredibly stubborn. Marion is incredibly single minded. And I was like, right, here is my moment for my stubbornness to shine. My whole life it's waited. So I made a decision and I was like, right, I'm not doing it again. I'm just not smoking again. And for about 2 weeks,
On and off for over 20 years, and my
20,
husband and I smoked,
mm-hmm,
and we stopped about 8 months ago.
mm-hmm,
Because A, it was just so expensive. B, we were lazy and didn't want to keep having to go to the store to get cigarettes.
mm-hmm,
And C, I wanted to buy tarot cards, and the money I was spending on cigarettes I could spend on tarot cards.
mm-hmm.
It was really tough to quit for me. Oh my gosh, I was an awful human being.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I basically spent 2 weeks at home. I didn't see anybody. I didn't see anybody. I didn't speak to anybody. Um, it's like I let friends and that know, look, I'm okay, but please don't try and phone me. Please don't come and like knock on my door or anything. I know I need to be alone completely to get through the withdrawals. So yeah, it
what's
was a
Marion like when she's in tower mode?
tower. It was literally like a tower moment, but a good tower moment. And how I managed it was because of the skills that I had learned for a previous tower moment in my life. So the previous tower moment was getting out of that nasty, horrible relationship that I had been in, the one with the demand and the tarot card reading. And the skills that I had learned for going through and getting away from somebody who was kind of narcissistic, who
Right.
had who had issues, and but these skills that I had learned, I was like, right, okay, so smoking is a toxic relationship for me. It's killing me. I know it's killing me, but I love it. So I'm totally in that mindset. But then I then converted, but when I had converted it into seeing it like a toxic relationship, that was when the penny dropped. That was when I knew that I could do it because I had done it previously with the other relationship. So every time I craved a cigarette, I exactly, exactly, Ange, right? Smoking and drinking, it was amazing. You loved it, but you had to change exactly. But I didn't have this grand big thing thinking, oh well, I need to change, and I was perfectly happy. But then realizing that, so then when I craved a cigarette, I thought about it in the way, not like when you break up with somebody and you really want to text them, but you'll feel shit as soon as you text them. That's how I equated craving a cigarette. So it was just tiny wee things like that and comparing it to both things And well, I've been smoke free
It
since.
was
I've
a
never.
little easier for me to quit because I follow Hermes and Hecate, my
Mhm,
deity. Hermes is all about being healthy. He's the god of athletes.
mhm,
I am no athlete by any means. To look at me, this is not the body of an athlete. But I finally had to tell myself I'm asking him for messages every time I get behind a set of cards and spitting in his face by smoking cigarettes and not respecting my body.
mhm,
So I had to, for my own art, my tarot work, I had to stop because I had made that mental association in my head. And if I did, it was going to cause problems for me. When we build up our own mental associations, it is a pain in the butt.
yes.
The star, we've only got a few more to go.
Mhm.
We have the star, which is a card of hope. When you see the star, what do you think of?
I'm not that keen in the star card. It's weird. I'm much more comfortable with the cards that people usually fear. See the cards that like invoke joy or invoke like happiness. I kind of like, all right then. You want to be happy? There. You go be happy. Okay. But wait, for it's star card, it's just that reminder. It's for me. It's the beginning. It's the celestial cards. The cards that are not within our world. The ones that give us the promise that there's something more.
Here, one of the interesting things about this card is the Hebrew association with it is Zadi, meaning fish hook. It's the fish hook that pulls you towards spirituality and insight. What continues to draw you towards your path?
It's my career. I need.
You're like, I'm in. It's too late to change now.
If you want to be really mundane about it, it's like if I can't think of anything else I would really like to do as a career. So
That's actually a good answer. You're like,
I'm sorry, it's no spiritually profound, but it's.
not all answers need to be profound. Sometimes they're just practical answers. The moon. When you look at the moon card, what does it mean to you?
It means that there has to be darkness in order for something to shine. It's the light within the darkness.
And do you use that juxtaposition to give something depth
Mhm.
to measure it against?
I I am I was born in a balsamic moon, so that is the darkest moon just before the new moon. So it's the oldest period of the moon, and I was born in a 0 degrees Aries moon. So I've got the oldest moon on the very youngest part of the zodiac. So I mean, what's that for a contradiction? Um, so it's like the moon is a really important card to me, much more so than I would say. I know like people tend to gravitate towards a high priestess, because like
Well, they're
astrologically,
both moon cards, yeah.
yeah, but for me, it's like the moon card is, and it's probably the fact that there is the dog and the wolf. It's like that kind of a placid side of humanity or the human experience, but then inside you've got that kind of wild, untamed.
The domesticated, untamed
Yeah.
aspects. And would you consider yourself more domesticated or more untamed?
Depends who you ask. Like, give you an example. For instance, I dated a guy who referenced dating me was like trying to date or tame a wild Mustang because I was so flighty. He's like, you're worse than he was like, you're like the female version of the most commitment phobic man ever.
No, I'm not flighty. I'm ethereal.
Yes. It's like I remember we're walking down like this main like road, this main like kind of shopping like street in Glasgow, and it was busy, and he went to hold my hand. And I'm like, "Tim, what are you doing?" And for the rest of the day, I put my hands in my jacket pocket to avoid him. I'm like, you will not corral me. I am not. I am not here to be led.
You will not touch me.
Yes.
The star, the moon, and the sun are three of my favorite cards because they deal with the heavenly bodies. I love it. But the sun is the one that shines on our personal self, our identity. I
Mm,
want you to sum yourself up in three statements. For
sum myself up.
me. Nobody said this is going to be an easy.
I know. God's sakes. Um, if we're talking about the literal sun, um, I'm Scottish and I'm a ginger gene carrier, so I have practically transparent skin. I need to wear
Yeah, if
factor
you go outside in the
56
sun, you
here.
will.
It's like
I've seen vampires. Yeah, don't do it. Would you consider yourself a confident person?
I have developed skills in order to portray myself as confident.
I have a particular set of skills.
I think I induce confidence in other people. I think I'm really good at helping other people to feel confident within themselves.
So I'm hearing kingmaker.
Aye. I'm very good at spotting potential. So it makes me a good tarot reader.
That's a superpower. I don't care what anybody says. Spotting
Makes
potential.
me
Being
shit
a head
at
on.
romantic relationships because I see the potential. I never get to the point where they've actually reached the potential.
Here's the thing. I normally charge a lot. I have several clients. Half of them pay me, and half of them do not. Mainly because the ones who do not pay me are the ones I've said, I believe in you
Mm,
and I want you to have this knowledge. So if you're into it, we're going to continue working together. You don't have to worry about it. But if
mm,
I view potential, I'm going to follow through with it. Some people want to learn cards and they just don't have the knack. They just don't have the ability to look at the cards or understand them. And then they get mad at you for not teaching them properly.
mhm.
That bothers me. Have you ever had a client like that? Do you teach?
I teach. I don't teach classes. I teach one to one. So I do one to one mentoring sessions with people. Um, because I just prefer that. It just works for me. Um, I've looked at doing classes. I've done classes in the past, but it just usually descends into chaos, and you get there seems to be with me for some reason when I do a class. You know how in any situation in life, right, if you're going to like maybe like if you're working like a corporate thing or maybe if you're going in a course for your work related, there's always one person that's a pain in the arse. You know
Always.
that? Always. And the rule of thumb is if there isn't a person, then you're that person. Right? Luckily there's
That's the
always been
second
one.
part is having to stop and say, "Am I the dick here?"
It's like joking. But when I did any classes in that, the whole class would be filled up with that person. So every person would be that person. I'm like, oh fuck this. No. No, just sorry, I swore. I've been trying so hard not to swear.
It's funny, and I've said it before on my channel. I always start off in my readings being very professional at the beginning. I want to be authoritative,
Mm,
kind,
mhm.
encouraging reader. But halfway through the reading, I turn into Whoopi Goldberg from Ghost. You in danger, girl. And it just goes from there. So every reading is going to be different.
Mhm.
How I relate to you is going to be different than I relate to the person before. And
Yeah,
it's
I think it's like you know your audience. It's like you know your client, and I think that comes from um just experience really. And it doesn't need to necessarily be experience like in reading for people. It can be all different walks of life. It was like when I worked in criminal justice, it's like one minute I could be talking to like the assistant Lord Advocate of Scotland. So I'm speaking to this very well educated individual. And the next minute I could be talking to a wee guy who is in and out of prison constantly and checking if the police are looking for him.
yeah.
So I'm using very different language to each of the conversations, and that's something that really helps me in with my client work.
Amanda, yes. Amanda and Heather and Ruth and they've seen me do readings before. We're halfway through. I'm like, I'm don't take this the wrong way, but calm your tits. Okay. It just I in my readings I'm going to say what needs to be said.
Mhm,
Um, the judgment card is our last card. This is a call to action.
mm.
Do you feel you've been called to any type of spiritual action?
I think I've been called to do it full time. I think I resisted for a long time. It was always
Me too.
like reading. I've always read cards. It's like maybe no as consistently. If I've been working a particular like job in a particular career, but they've always been by my side. Like they've always been that. Oh well, I've got maybe a big holiday coming up, or I've maybe got an event coming up, and I really want a particular outfit, and or I'll go and do some readings. And it's been like to subsidise my main income. But when the call, if you like, came, it was 2018, 2019, where I had to go full time. And it was a series of events, the most crazy events that you could imagine, that the universe stepped in to prevent me doing anything else other than this. Like there was times where I went for like a job, and it was with the Scottish government, and it was like a really, really, really good job. And I went for the interview, and they had basically gave me like the nod. See, like when I was walking back out for the interview, the chief of the interview panel, basically they didn't say it obviously because they can't, but in knowing so many words, he kind of says, right, expect the phone call. Prepare yourself to be accepted for this post. So I was waiting and expecting it, and I'm like, nothing coming. What's going on? So I phoned up the HR department, and I was like, look, I've not heard anything. I'm just wondering, I'm just looking for feedback. And they were like, oh, you didn't turn up to the interview. I'm like, I beg your pardon? So we had this very long conversation. I was like, and I described the people, I described what they were wearing. I described the room that I was interviewed in. And it transpired that on the interviewees, there was two Marions,
Oh,
and one turned up as in me, and the other one didn't. But they offered the job to the one who didn't,
oh,
and she accepted it. She
oh my
accepted
God.
the job.
How'd that turn out?
Well, I was just, and they were like, "Oh well, we can't withdraw the offer." I'm like, "What do you mean you can't withdraw the
Yeah.
offer? You've offered somebody a job they didn't interview for." And the woman was just like, "Oh no," I goes, "Look, I want this escalated." Because I mean, this wasn't like an entry level job. This was like kind of executive level. And I was like to myself, I'm like, "Do you know what?" And I said to them, I was like, I'm really no interested in working for an organisation that is that incompetent.
Yeah.
So that tells me all that I need to know, because if I'm like, "Oh well, the next time a vacancy comes up, you'll be the one offered," and I'm like, "No." I was just like, "No, thank you." I
You
was just
had
like,
it.
I'm no what exactly. You only get one chance with me, and if you don't take it, then
I've
and
always believed that interviews go both ways. They're
absolutely
interviewing me, but I'm interviewing them also. I
exactly.
I won't accept a job I don't want to work at.
hmm
I love it.
So that was that, and then obviously, I decided, right, okay, let's look into setting this up, etc. And then 2020 happened, and we all know what happened then, and that was just like, right, okay, it was divine redirection, and I do believe it was Saturn. I do
Did it
believe,
work out for the better?
of course it did. I'm here talking to you.
Hell yeah. Okay. The world.
Mm.
The world, the world, the world. The sum of all the other cards.
hmm
What have you got coming up?
What
What
if
is on the horizon for you?
I have got so much. So much. I am in. Do you do numerology, Bobby?
I do numerology.
So I'm in a 4 year. I'm in a personal 4 year. So I am working my arse off. So,
Now's the time to do it.
so what's I kept coming up? Talking about the actual world, I am presenting at the UK Tarot Conference in October in less than 6 weeks' time, which when I realised that on Friday, I nearly had a fit. 'Cause I was like, What? What? Only that
I'll
length?
have to be watching it on the UK Tarot Conference. I'll be watching it online.
Oh,
I've never been able to go. Maybe next year. I keep telling myself maybe next year, maybe next year.
well, maybe. So I am going to be presenting it, and I'm going to be doing a presentation on Saturn, because that is the astrological ruler for the world card. So my presentation is going to be about the Saturn years. So my
That's
blurb sounds
interesting thing
really
about
interesting.
Saturn.
Hmm?
When I think of Saturn, yes, it's a planet of restriction, but I view it also since it's associated with the world and the Sephiroth Bina on the Tree of Life. It's where things are birthed. Yes, it's restricting, but it's pulling things together to give form to it.
Mhm,
So that is how I associate Saturn.
So
But
basically, I'm going to be introducing the concept of annual perfections, but in a tarot orientated way, because it's mainly a tarot audience as opposed to a astrology audience. So we're going to be working with that. And we're going to be using a wee bit of alchemy and mixing things up, and probably pissing off the astrologers and pissing off the tarot card readers, and just having some fun with it.
you
So
mentioned alchemy, and we had mentioned the Thoth deck earlier. Did you ever learn the Thoth deck? Is that
I have I have learned the Thoth deck in relation to magical practices, which I do not discuss. That's a Marion thing. That's not a public thing. That's just a Marion thing.
you know what?
It's
That's
what
fine.
eh?
That's fine because I don't talk about certain things with the general public eye.
hmm
Um,
So then I have got an online conference with the World Divination Association. I think
yeah,
that's November or December at one point. And then I have got StarCon in Florida in January.
And all of these are listed on your website, right?
No.
No. Okay.
No, because I'm shit at IT. And no, so StarCon is a 3-day conference in West Palm Beach in Florida. And it's run by Christiana Godet, who is just like amazing. She's like one of my really special Scorpios. I collect Scorpios. She's one of my special ones.
You said West Palm Beach,
West Palm Beach.
California, and West Palm Beach, United States?
Aye.
Really?
Aye. This will be
Maybe
my
we
third
take a road
year.
trip out there for you guys. See you.
This will be my third year. I am doing the Friday intensive. So the Friday intensive is basically a 3-hour thing where I'm going to be. It's like broke up into 3 45-minute segments. So I'm going to be just really diving into the tarot deckings because that's like my whole thing, and basically it'll be educating people on their birth chart and making their birth chart up
Yeah.
with the tarot deck. So like all their placement, so they're going to be using, so what degree is their moon on? So they're going to use like whatever card is associated with that decking, and then see how that minor arcana has had an influence on their life, etc. when it comes to like aspects of the moon astrologically. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And also, if I can, I am launching a Kickstarter and the 7th of November for this deck.
Oh! I saw you talking about this deck. Oh, I love this deck. Yes, I want this deck.
Well, it's so it's called the Grief Journey Oracle, and every image is a hand painted oil painting, and I'm working with an incredible human, Terry, who is an incredible artist. She's painted all of these in oil paints. As part of the campaign, a lot of the images will be available as add-ons. So so it's been it's been a thing. It really has. But there's a walkthrough on my channel of all the cards. You can see it, and it's played to music, and it's. I didn't quite believe it would actually happen. I still don't quite believe it will happen, but it is happening. You know, whether I like it or not. And then that's the back of the cards for people to see them.
Would you say that you are caught up in your own gravity now?
It's just it's crazy, these things that are happening to me, and it's, if I stop to think about it, it's too overwhelming.
So don't think about it.
And I'm not thinking about it. Where's that? Are you in need of a personal assistant? You need someone to promote all your things. Listen, I can't afford a personal assistant. If you want to promote me to get more readings, then that would be great. Thanks. It's been a quiet summer. There's not been many breakups this summer. Everybody's been too happy. It's like
Excited that you're coming to the United States again. I want to see if I can get down there to. In my head, I'm trying to formulate a group of people to do a road trip with me.
Oh, honestly, Arkham, it'll be amazing. We are moving to a new. Well, I say we. I mean the royal we. We're in a different hotel this year. We're in Marriott Bonvoy or right, but it's really nice. It's been Marion approved because Christiana says I think we need to move hotels. And I was like, leave it to me. And she's like, but you're in Scotland. I was like, aye, but the internet works in Scotland as well. Duh. And she was like, right, you find me a hotel. And I found her the hotel, and I was like, I picked this Sheen. And she's like, I actually seen that, and I was thinking about going to see it. And I'm like, well, I think you should.
Well, if
And
you ever decide to come down to Arizona in the United States, you're perfectly welcome to stay here. I'll show you all around Tombstone and the ghost cities and the
Arizona, are you kidding me on? Do you know why StarCon is in January?
Huh.
Christiana said to me, "What will it take for you to come to Florida?" And I was like,
Hello.
when's the coldest month in Florida? And she was like, well, January. I was like, what temperature is it? She told me temperature, and I was like, right, that's like summer in Scotland. I'll come in January.
Okay.
That's why StarCon's in January.
I did not know that. That's
Honestly, well, not really anybody does, but you're getting the gossip.
we're gonna go ahead and say goodbye, but before I do, I want you to pull a card, a general card for everybody.
General card, right? Okay, and you said that to use a black deck.
Yes, man, I'm all about the black decks.
Right. Okay. So this is a deck I wrote the guidebook for. So it is called the Wandering Moon Tarot.
Okay.
Okay. And
Ooh.
this is a black background edition. The first edition was white with black, but then myself and Rachel we inverted it, and we were going to just do like black with white. But then I said to her one night, I was like, look, why don't we see if we can do the white holographic? And we did.
I love black decks. The Lost Soul deck, the True Black deck, the Black Tarot. These are not that I like evil decks. I just like the darkness.
I like this.
Pulling images
Have you
from the
got this
dark.
one yet?
I love that. I don't have it.
You need to get it. It's lovely. Right. Okay, a card for everybody. Let's see. Get the Hierophant.
Weren't you just saying this is a difficult card for you?
I did. But it's Taurus.
And I have the Ace of Wands.
Oh, lovely. Do you know what's interesting about the True Black Tarot? You know it's really difficult for Arthur to send them to the UK and they ship him as a fortune. So last year when I was going to StarCon, I reached out to him and I was like, would you be willing to send a copy to the hotel that I'm staying in Florida?
You know Arthur Wang?
I don't know him. I've never met him, but I
I've been trying
messaged
to
him.
do an interview with that man for the past year. I'm
He
gonna
will
keep
need
trying.
shy. He's too shy.
Yeah, he's very shy apparently.
He's
He will be mine. So what does the Hierophant say for us?
The Hierophant says for us that this Taurus is over and out. It's time for her to go to bed.
That's right, because you are 8 hours ahead of me. It is
No, it's
12.
only 8:45. It's fine. I'm not that bad. I'm not that much an old lady. No, I think that the Hierophant's just saying is that despite appearances, despite what other people think of you, remember that every one of you is a teacher of something, and we've all got wisdom to share.
I like that.
Yeah. How's that for a profound message?
Very profound. I would like to actually have you back on in a couple weeks to do readings now that we know who you are.
But now you know that I can read.
I've always known you can read. I've come across you. Plus, you came highly recommended. But I really do. I love
Highly
your
recommended.
videos. Both Chris and Ken.
And Ken,
You
it's
know
only
your
because they're
stuff.
scared of me.
What's that?
It's only 'cause they're scared of me. You know that?
They say you know your astrology.
I do. I do.
I'm going to pick your brain on it the next time we get together. This was the fool's journey, but next time we're gonna have some fun.
We're gonna have a cosmic journey.
We're gonna have a cosmic journey.
Yay!
So stick around backstage and we'll talk. I want to thank everybody else for
Thank you so
being here.
much.
Marion Kirk, please check out her YouTube channel and
Marion K. Tarot everywhere online.
Marion. I can't say Marion when you say it. I have to say Marion.
Marion.
Marion. Maid Marion has been here, and I want to thank you. Enjoy, everybody, and we'll see you on the next video.